Hi friends! So in today's video we're going to be talking about books that have been made popular by BookTok, and I'm going to tell you right up front that this is going to be the start of a multi-video project that's going to have an interactive piece to it, which I am excited for. Okay, so this video project has been inspired by a few things. Number one, we've seen BookTok sort of blow up and take off, and a lot of people have been doing these videos of like books I was inspired to read because of BookTok, and people have been watching them and I think they've been really interesting. The thing that I noticed is that my local Barnes & Noble, and I think a lot of Barnes & Nobles right now have this, they have a table that is specifically for books that have been made popular by BookTok, and I think that's really amazing that BookTok is getting sales to that level, and I think it's a smart marketing move, to be honest, like for getting books to sell in store. So this video is going to be a couple of different things. One is that I went to my local Barnes & Noble because I was like curious to see what books do they have on their BookTok table? What did I think of them? Like, do I think these are good books? Do I think that they deserve the hype that they're getting? Are there ones I know nothing about? And so you're gonna see some footage of that. I'm gonna show you what was on my local Barnes & Noble's BookTok tables, because it turns out they have two of them. They had a adult table downstairs and a YA table upstairs. So I'm gonna show you that and comment on the books that they had. There were a lot. But also while I was there, I realized some of these were books that I know nothing about and maybe would be interested in reading, or books that I have heard about quite a bit and just haven't picked up, and maybe this would be a good opportunity. So here's the deal. I thought it would be interesting to start a project similar to something that Kayla from Books and Lala is doing, where she's vlogging the process of reading books that are 5-star predictions for her, and then also reading a book that you guys predict she's gonna love. I think it's a cool idea. I've enjoyed that series, and I will link it down below if you guys want to go and check those out if you haven't seen them already. But I want to do something kind of similar for this project. So what I've done is I've picked up 5 BookTok famous books that I'm interested in reading and think that I might like, and I'm going to be doing a vlog for each of those books, but in each vlog I will also be reading a second book that somebody else has picked out for me. So for the first video, I already know what I'm going to be doing for the second book. This one was actually picked out for me by a friend and patron, Isabella, because we were on my Patreon live stream for book club and I was telling them about this project that I was working on, and she had a book that she really wanted me to read, and she was like, would you read this too? You should read this book. I think you should try it. So I think it pairs really nicely with one of the books that I picked out for myself. So we'll see, like, I guess, like, which one is better, and I'll tell you what they are because you'll understand. I feel like these also go together really well. The book that I picked up for myself is Neon Gods by Katie Robert. You've probably seen this around if you're in the romance community. This is a contemporary take on Hades and Persephone. It's like kind of a, you know, like edgier romance, I guess you could say. The thing that I like about Katie Robert is that she does darker romance, but she's really, really big on writing consent into her stories, which is part of why I'm more comfortable trying some of them. I'm gonna be reading Neon Gods for a vlog, and appropriately the book that Isabella really wanted me to read was A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, which is also a dark romance contemporary take on Hades and Persephone. So I thought this would be a really interesting video, reading Neon Gods and A Touch of Darkness simultaneously. That's gonna be vlog number 1, where I'll kind of compare and contrast them, let you know what I think of them, and kind of see who picked better. Like, did I pick better for myself or did Isabella pick better for me? And we'll see how it goes. Now, you might be wondering, what are the other books and how can I participate? And I will tell you, there are 4 other books that I'm going to be doing video projects for that I picked out that I'm interested in and think I will like, that are BookTok recommendations. So if you want to be a part of deciding what I'm going to read for each video, comment down below and tell me some books that you would recommend that I read, books that you think I'll really love. This can be books that have been made popular on TikTok or that you've seen talked about on TikTok, but it doesn't have to be that. If you just have something else that I haven't read that you're like, you really need to read this book, you're gonna love it, feel free to put it down below. Ideally, what I'm gonna be looking for is books that are a good genre match for the things that I've picked out. And I can tell you what I have is 2 fantasy books, a thriller, and a mystery. So if you have something that you think would maybe pair well or like go well together in a video for those things, and you have a book in mind that you're like, Bethany, I think you'd really love this, comment down below. So Here are the 4 other books that I picked up for this project. The first one is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. So this I think is like self-published fantasy, and I kind of love the cover. I had not heard of it before. I am on BookTok, but like I feel like I spend a lot of my time on other parts of TikTok, so I actually haven't heard about this, but I saw it on the table and I was like, this looks really intriguing. It's about a secret magical society, which like, yes, sold. Secret magical society, I am here for it. I'm really curious to see what I think. So if you have a good fantasy book, maybe a dark academia book that you think I would love, or like something that might pair well with this, leave it in a comment down below. I also decided to grab Verity by Colleen Hoover. I have not read anything from Colleen Hoover, partly because a lot of her books I feel like I might hate, but this one has always intrigued me, and I know it's more of a thriller than her other books, so we're gonna give it a try and see how I get on with it. Again, if you have kind of a thriller type book that you think I would really be a fan of, or something that would pair nicely with this, leave a comment below. Then I have 2 YA books. The first one is The House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin Craig, and I'll be honest, this is something that was already kind of on my radar. I read her second book, Small Favors, this year and really enjoyed it, and that made me like curious to pick this up. I know it's a retelling of The 12 Dancing Princesses and is kind of like a darker seaside retelling. I feel like I might be into it, and then seeing it on the BookTok table was like the final push that I needed to grab it. So I'm really excited for this. So if you have something that is also maybe a fairy tale retelling or a YA fantasy or something that you think I would be really into, again, leave it in the comments below and I'll pick something from there for that video. And then lastly, I have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I've heard really good things about this. This is a YA murder mystery, and again, it's something that I was already like interested in reading. I know Alexa Dunn really liked this one, and yeah, so I'm gonna try this. So if you have another murder mystery of some sort that you think I would really love, recommend something to me down below. So there you go. There's going to be 5 videos where I will read one of these books that has been hyped by BookTok and see how I get on with it. So you have some time, leave some comments down below, and I will also post this in other social media places so I can get some recommendations. I think it'll be fun. I'm excited. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the other books on the BookTok table at my local Barnes & Noble, and I'll let you know what I think. Let's look at this footage. Here's the downstairs BookTok table. So the first thing I notice is there's a Penelope Douglas book, which I am probably not going to read any Penelope Douglas. I have a feeling she is not going to be for me. I know she does slightly darker, angsty, erotic romance that is like, people seem very mixed on her, but people who love her, so take that as you will. We've got a Jojo Moyes book. I've not read from Jojo Moyes. I've just like heard so many people who had issues with some of her popular books, so I don't know about that. The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I know some people really love this. Again, it's one of those very popular contemporary romances that I feel like wouldn't be for me, so I didn't pick it up, but I know a lot of people love it. All the Light We Cannot See. Look, I'm not a big historical fiction reader, especially from that time period, so I can't tell you anything about that. House in the Cerulean Sea, I did love while reading it, since there's been some controversy surrounding it, so I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but I can see why it's a beloved book and something that's been hyped. In 5 Years I Know Nothing About. A Little Life I do know about. Again, not for me probably. It's like, I mean, it's like angsty literary fiction, which I'm just like not very interested in, but it was a prize winner, so cool. That's cool. If it's getting hype, it's a gay book, that's cool. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, I really liked it. I'm cool with that. Red, White, and Royal Blue, not surprised to see it on this list. Again, it was a book that I really liked. The Night Circus. I, as you might know, was a bigger fan of The Starless Sea, but it's been a lot of years since I read The Night Circus, and it's the kind of thing that I might appreciate more on a reread, so, you know, it is widely popular. I don't think it's a bad thing to have on this table. Circe I Adore, one of my all-time favorite books. Yay, I love that. Then we have 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which I actually think is overhyped. I don't like, it's an interesting concept, but I actually did not think the execution was super great. So do with that what you will. It was I didn't love it. The Atlas 6, Beach Read by Emily Henry. Again, this is another one. If somebody really wants me to read this, I would be open to it. I haven't picked it up because it just doesn't appeal to me that much, but I do know a lot of people love it. On Gods by Katie Roberts. Or, I have not heard the best reviews of this, to be honest. So, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to me that it's on here. The Great Gatsby, classic. I'm cool with it. I feel like this is probably because we've been getting a lot of Great Gatsby stuff recently since it just became, copyright just went out. The Bone Shard Daughter, fantastic. I love that this is here. I think it's a really interesting fantasy novel that's doing some cool stuff. I liked it a lot. And Far From the Tree, oh my gosh, so emotional. It made me cry. This was great. Then we have Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. I didn't like this very much. I didn't think it was very good, so, you know. The Body Keeps Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. I know nothing about this. We Were Liars I read for a book club years ago, like pre-BookTube, and I liked it. I know it's popular and I can see why. Verity by Colleen Hoover, which I have also bought for this project. Next up we have Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Not shocked. I feel like Madeline Miller has been huge on BookTok from the very beginning, and I loved Song of Achilles. I thought it was great. No Longer Human was one that I had never heard of before. I can't even remember now. I know I picked it up and looked at it while I was in the bookstore, and I was like, I don't know if this would quite be for me, but I think it's something in translation. Then we've got All Your Perfects, which is another Colleen Hoover. Again, I feel like this isn't that surprising. A lot of melodramatic romance seems to trend pretty well on BookTok, and so I feel like that's kind of what she does. And we've got A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, which, as you know, is going to be in this video. Tender is the Flesh. Oh my gosh, I don't think I could read this. I have heard people talk about it, and I'm like, nope, nope. Sorry, like I can't. But again, it's very shocking, and so the fact that people are reading it because they saw it on TikTok is not really surprising to me. It Ends With Us, another Colleen Hoover. She clearly is doing well on TikTok. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I loved this. This was fantastic. One of the, you know, limited historical fictions that I'm really into. I think this totally was worth the hype. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I have been hesitant to pick this one up because I've heard it has a lot of like suicidal ideation stuff in it, which I kind of don't want to read. I do hear it's very well written, but I feel like the topics are maybe a bit much for me. And that's it for that side of the table. Let's look at the other side. Okay, unsurprisingly, we've got From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I mean, honestly, TikTok is part of what made that as big as it was, I think. I had a reasonably good time with it, but I totally understand the criticisms. I will say that seeing reviews of later books in the series has made me decide I'm not gonna keep going. Like, I'm good. These Violent Delights, it's interesting to me this has been so popular on TikTok. I didn't love it. Like, I think I gave it 3 stars. It had some interesting ideas, but I think there were some specific things about it that didn't work super well for me, but it is a great cover and it's very high concept, so I guess I can kind of see why maybe that would do well. And it's kind of a Romeo and Juliet retelling, which again, the fact that romantic melodrama does well on BookTok, I guess that tracks. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I know a lot of people have loved this. I have heard some things about the author that are less than stellar, so I don't know. I haven't read this. I don't plan on reading it, so I can't say that I have much to say about it. Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, not surprising given that Shadow and Bone is up. I liked these. I think Six of Crows is better, but I do love the world and the vibes, so I think I like that series better as a whole more than I do individual books. I feel like Six of Crows especially, it's just got such iconic characters, which I love. Normal People by Sally Rooney. Another one that I know is really popular that I'm not super interested in reading because I've heard some people who really didn't like it, so I don't know. We've got more Jennifer L. Armentrout. Of course, One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Okay, it is one that I feel like eventually I want to read, but I think like the stuck in time thing as a trope just doesn't really appeal to me, but it's been very popular, so Not surprised that it's on here. Then we have lots of Sarah J Maas. Again, not terribly surprising. I personally quite enjoy Sarah J Maas. I understand a lot of the criticisms of her writing. It's not for everybody, but I have a really good time with it. And again, it's like angsty and sexy and melodramatic with like magic-y stuff. It's gonna do well on BookTok. Like, this is what does well. So of course it's on here. Obviously, like, I loved A Court of Silver Flames. It was one of my favorite books that I read this year. She's not everybody's cup of tea, which is totally fine, but I do enjoy her books. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I didn't actually like this that much. I think I liked it more conceptually than in execution. It had too much teen drama and not enough of like the mystery solving part of it for my taste. It was okay. And probably if I was a teenager, I would have liked it better, but as an adult reader, it wasn't quite what I was looking for, whatever that says. The Cruel Prince, not surprised. Again, this is one that has been a huge hit. People love it. It's got angsty, melodramatic teen romance. Yeah, and I did like it, although I think what I got out of it was different from what other people did, and I haven't continued with the series, although at some point I kind of want to finish it. We'll see. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Yeah, not surprised to see this on there. I know it's really popular. Again, historical fiction is just not really my jam, and it doesn't sound like something I would personally be all that into, but that's cool. If We Were Villains by ML Rio. I really liked this a lot. Not everybody does. It often gets compared to Secret History by Donna Tartt, and I feel like which one you like better might depend on which one you read first. I read this first and really loved it, and then I read Secret History, which I also liked. This one has more Shakespeare, and Secret History has more like Greek mythology. I'm not mad this is on the table though. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. They both die at the end. This is definitely iconic. It's a solid, queer, slightly speculative book. I liked it. Didn't love it. I feel like Adam Silvera's writing is not totally my thing. It's a little sad for my taste. And not that the writing is sad, but the topics are sad. And, you know, but again, angsty, romantic, queer, YA, it fits. Six of Crows. I mean, I already told you what I think of Six of Crows, and like, yeah, that's cool. And of course, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Of course, this is on there. It was huge. I did like this quite a lot, and I didn't love it to the level that I think a lot of people did, but I liked it. Moving on, we're going to take a quick look at the upstairs YA table. You are going to see a few repeats, but a lot of this is new, so let's look. All right, so again, we have The Cruel Prince as well as The Wicked King. No surprise there. The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I almost picked this one up. I am interested in it. It sounds like the kind of dark YA fantasy I could be into, and I know my friend Amanda from The Naughty Librarian really loved it. I probably didn't just because it was a hardcover and I was already buying so many books for this, but this is one that I'm interested in, and if people in the comments want to make me read it, I would not be opposed to that, so just saying. Legendborn. Freaking amazing. I love that it's on the BookTok table. It's so good. It was one of my favorite books last year. I think the cover doesn't quite do it justice, but yeah, this was great. It was really great. The Selection. I mean, that is an old school pick, but again, it kind of tracks with like the trends that I'm seeing of what often takes off on BookTok. It's like angsty drama and romance. It was fine. Like, I had fun with it. I never continued with the series. I only read the first book, but it was fun. You know, it's fine. Twilight. Of course, Twilight's on there. I mean, because the Twilight movies just got added to Netflix, I've been seeing Twilight content all over TikTok, so I'm not surprised. Do I think they hold up? No, not really. I did a whole project on that, but yeah, of course they're there. They're having a resurgence if they ever fully left. So yeah. Daughter of the Pirate King, I mentioned earlier, I was not the biggest fan. Red Queen, I liked. I never continued with the series. I read book 2 and I didn't like book 2 nearly as much, and then I kind of stopped, but I did like the first one. I read it around when it first came out, I think, and that was like the height of this kind of dystopian YA stuff with like magic elements, and you know, I think it was like a decent version of that. To Kill a Kingdom is really good. It's kind of a darker Little Mermaid retelling, and I liked it. It's on the dark and bloody side for YA, and that was a pretty good fantasy. Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I read the first book and didn't love it. I know this has been a really popular series, but it was too long and I just wasn't interested enough to continue. I have really enjoyed her fantasy stuff, so I'm excited to read Gilded, which is her Rumpelstiltskin retelling coming out this fall. But yeah, not my favorite, but it's been really popular, so, you know, what do I know? One of Us is Lying, this was fine, but it's wildly popular. It sold tons of copies, so hey. Then we have the other side of the YA table, which for some reason is upside down on my phone, so that's fun. House of Salt and Sorrows, which, as you saw, I added to my TBR. I'm excited for that one. We have Shadow and Bone again. Children of Virtue and Vengeance was not good. It was my least favorite book that I read in 2020. I did not think it was a good follow-up, but it sold a lot of copies, so, you know. Kingdom of the Wicked. I have heard good things about this, but I haven't read it. This is another one that, like, people talk about. I read Carrie Maniscalco's debut novel, and it was fine. Like, I kind of liked it. Maybe I should give her another chance, and maybe this would be much better, but I probably haven't picked it up because I felt, like, tepid about her first book. I don't know. I have heard a lot of people say they loved this. Anna and the French Kiss. What am I saying? Melodramatic romance. I have not read it. YA contemporary romance doesn't super appeal to me at this point in my life, but cool. The Hocus Pocus book, I have actually not heard a lot of great things about this. Like, I hadn't heard a lot of positive reviews, so that's interesting to me that that's on there. The Iron King by Julie Kagawa. I have not read this. I feel like I read something by Julie Kagawa and liked it reasonably well. I don't know anything about the Iron King, so I can't really comment. Scythe, I do think is quite good. It's very interesting conceptually. Got a lot of interesting things to say about, like, death and humanity, and yeah, I'm not upset this is on the table. Good Girl's Guide to Murder is on my TBR from here. The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Henning. This was one where I was like, okay, the concept sounds interesting, but I feel like it's gonna be hard to pull off. I wanna say it's like a Princess Bride retelling, but I haven't heard people really talking about it. So if it's actually worth reading, let me know, I guess. Cinder and Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which I liked. I liked both of those. Okay, so overall thoughts on the BookTok table. I think there's a lot of trends. We can see the things that tend to do well on BookTok. There are some exceptions to that, but it is interesting looking at this and talking through it. I'm like, okay, I can see, like, what it is that tends to do really well, plus some, like, thrillers and things that for whatever reason get picked up. Like, there are a lot of good books on these tables and things that I'm not mad to see more people reading, like backlist titles that definitely deserve more love and recognition. Some of them I'm side-eyeing a little bit where I'm like, ugh, it's not that good. But okay, whatever. You know, read what you want to read. It's fine. This was definitely interesting. I'd be interested to hear from you guys in the comments if your bookstores are doing this as well with the BookTok table thing. Is this something that would actually make you interested in picking up a book and buying and reading it? Like, does that work for you? I'm curious. And don't forget, comment below with books that you think I should try reading, that you think I would love. Maybe this gave you some ideas if you didn't already have some from the books we talked about. And if I get a lot of comments, maybe I'll pick, like, the most commented one or the one most thumbs upped one. So talk in the comments down below. I'm excited. I think this will be a fun project. If you all like this video, it really helps if you give it a thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.